Something happened to me this morning that I wasn't expecting, and I'm not really sure I was all that ready for. And bear with me because I'm still figuring out how to say it and explain it to somebody else, let alone myself. I'm Tanya and I'm neurodivergent, and for most of my life, I had absolutely no idea. But the more that I start to lean into not just the idea of being different, but just letting myself be different, I think I'm starting to reap the benefits without even really trying. So this morning for me was a little bit slower and quieter than usual. I'm still basically in my PJs now talking to you. And I was in bed surrounded by my snoring husband and my sleeping cats, and suddenly I had the briefest moment of what I can only label as freedom. Not freedom from worry or pain, because my body, this neurodivergent body, carries both of those things every single day. But here's a visual that I thought of that can, I think, best describe it. Think of a helium balloon, like a party balloon, tied to something heavy like a stack of bricks. And it's bouncing with the wind, and even the slightest, smallest breeze knocks it around and pushes it and pulls it. And the balloon really has no control over the bigger forces at work. And that's what it feels like to me being in this neurodivergent, maturing female body most of the time. And maybe it's like that for you too. This essence wants to escape. It wants to float freely because that's its nature, but it's tied down and it doesn't have the tools to free itself. But this morning, my string, it got loose. Just for the briefest moment, I was untied. I was untethered for about 3 seconds, maybe 2. I was that balloon floating free. Not the I that I call my body or my mind, not my ADHD, not my chronic pain, not this menopausal female body. The me that knows that this body, this mind, this place on earth that I occupy, where I live and I breathe, and I love animals and the people in my life, all of this is temporary. And for those 2-3 seconds, that felt like the most natural thing in the world. That float felt so effortless. And then it was gone. So I've been sitting with this morning how to explain it, but also remember it for myself. That part of me that escaped for just that briefest moment. And I wasn't ADHD in that moment, and I wasn't experiencing chronic pain, and I wasn't any of the stories that I carry around about who I am and what I can and what I can't do. All of that stuff stayed right there in the bed, surrounded by my family. And this experience that I had, this part of me, yoga has a name for it. And that's one of the reasons why I, in my life, turn to yoga every day. Because if you have a question about what it means to be human on this earth, yoga has already been there, done that a few thousand years ago. So this experience that I had, it's called the Atman, A-T-M-A-N. And it means that our true self exists beneath everything else. So it's not our personality, it's not our history, it's not our traumas, and I have plenty of those of my own. It's not your diagnosis, it's not your body pain, it's not your achievements, it's not your failures. It's the part of you that was there before any of that. The part that is watching all of this stuff unfold without being weighed down by it. It's the witness. And I knew this concept, right, in my mind. I've studied it, I've read about it. I could have explained it to you last week from all the things that I've read over the years, from all of the books and the classes that I've taken. But this morning, I felt it. I experienced it, not as an idea, not as something that I read in a book or heard in a class from another teacher. I felt the freedom of floating from this body in a quiet bed with a snoring husband and sleeping cats all around me. Nothing special was happening at all. I wasn't in an ashram, taking a vow of silence for a month. I was just in my regular everyday life. And then suddenly I was just aware, watching with compassion and love for Tanya with ADHD, Tanya who has chronic pain, who's tired and trying so hard every single day. And it was the most safe and free I have ever felt. So here's what I really believe. Being neurodivergent is our golden ticket to this. Not in spite of how our brains work, but because of it. Because of how our brains and our bodies are wired. Because we already live outside of the default settings. We already experience the world differently than we're supposed to. We've spent our whole lives being told that our way of being is somehow wrong or incomplete. But what if that difference, that thing that has made life so hard for us in so many ways, is also the thing that makes us more available, more open to moments like this, when we can stop questioning how we are in these bodies and in these minds and just let ourselves be. I felt it this morning. I had it within my grasp for that fleeting, shining moment. And I'm not anyone special. And if you're neurodivergent, I think that you have access to this too. I truly believe it in every part of my human lived experience. And maybe you've already had a moment like this and you didn't know what to call it. Maybe you had 2 or 3 seconds like I had this morning. Maybe it was just a flicker. Maybe you've never even thought about any of this before, but something that I've just shared in this video felt familiar to you. Tell me in the comments. And are you able in your life to find ways of letting yourself be your kind of different, not managing, not masking, not apologizing? I really, really want to know, because I am starting to understand that this is where, as neurodivergents, our freedom to float really lives. And I'll see you next time.